The transport hub was supposed to be calm at this hour. Only a few late travelers moved around the metal walkways, and the giant windows showed the endless black of space outside. But the atmosphere was different tonight. Something felt tense. Human bus driver Miran Hale sensed it the moment he arrived for his night shift. His bus, Unit 7 to 42, stood at the loading platform, its blue lights glowing softly. Everything looked normal, but Miran felt a strange pull in his chest, as if something was waiting for him. He walked toward the bus, scanning the station. A group of alien passengers stood near a vending machine, whispering nervously. A pair of station guards argued quietly with a cargo loader. And then silence. Pure, sharp silence. That was when he saw her. A small figure stepped out from the shadow between two large support columns. She was an alien woman, barely reaching Miran's chest in height. Thin, quiet, wrapped in a gray travel cloak too big for her tiny frame. Her skin glowed faintly, like soft silver dust. But her eyes were the true shock. They were sharp, bright, almost glowing blue. Eyes that looked like they carried 1,000 stories she never told anyone. People around her stepped away, giving her a wide gap. Someone whispered, "Too small, not strong enough." Another muttered, "Why is she even here?" Miran frowned at their reactions. The woman looked harmless, more scared than dangerous. But the fear in the crowd was real. They avoided her like she was a curse. The small alien woman walked slowly toward Miran's bus. She did not speak. She did not look around. She only pressed one hand gently on the side of the bus, like she was checking if it was alive. And at the moment her fingers touched the metal, the entire bus powered down. Lights off. Engine silent. Panels dead. The sudden darkness forced several passengers to jump back. Someone screamed. The station alarm beeped once, confused by the sudden system crash. Miran rushed inside the bus, tried to start it, but the console did not respond. Completely dead. He hurried back outside. The alien woman still stood there, hand on the bus, staring at it with quiet focus. Everyone around stepped back even more. "She broke it. Get her away. She's dangerous." The whispers grew louder. Panic spread. Miran stepped in front of her before anyone else could act. "Hey, stop shouting," he said firmly. "She isn't doing anything." But the small woman finally looked up at him. Her eyes glowed brighter for a moment. Not threatening, more like pleading, like she wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. Then she lifted her hand and pointed at the bus door. Slowly, carefully, Miran hesitated, then followed her inside. The moment they entered, the lights flickered again. A soft hum returned to the engine. The bus was coming back to life, but only as she stepped closer to the control panel. The screens glowed, reacting to her presence. Miran stared. She hadn't broken the bus. She had woken it up. And for the first time, she spoke, her voice quiet, soft, but shaking with fear. "Help me, someone is coming." The words hit Miran like a shockwave. Before he could ask who, the entire station shuddered. A deep metallic tremor spread through the floors. Somewhere far above them, a siren began to howl. Passengers screamed and ran. Lights dimmed. Shadows fell. Miran turned toward the small woman. Her eyes were no longer scared. They were ready. And that was when he realized. Whatever was coming. It wasn't coming for the station. It wasn't coming for the passengers. It was coming for her. And he was now standing between her and the danger. The station sirens kept howling, echoing through the long metal tunnels. Passengers rushed in every direction, trying to escape without knowing what they were running from. The lights flickered again, turning the whole transport hub into a trembling maze of shadows. Inside the half-lit bus, Miran stood still, watching the small alien woman. She didn't look panicked. She didn't even look confused. She stood perfectly still, staring at the main window of the bus as if she could see something far away, something approaching. Miran tried to speak. "Who's coming for you?" She didn't answer. Instead, she stepped toward the dashboard and pressed her palm against the main panel. Instantly, a map flashed on the screen. Lines, routes, pulsing red dots, shifting coordinates. Miran had worked this route for 7 years, but he had never seen this system behave like this. "How are you doing that?" he asked. Her voice trembled but stayed calm. "I don't control it. It reacts to me." Then she turned her head slightly. "And it's warning us." Miran felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. Before he could ask anything else, the bus jolted, a strong vibration, like something huge had docked on the outer hull of the station. The floor under his boots trembled. The woman looked at the ceiling. They found me faster than I hoped. Miran gripped the steering rail. Who found you? Why are they after you? She finally looked at him fully. My name is Lissa, she said quietly. And I escaped my own people. Miran stared. Escaped? What? Lissa didn't blink. Because I refused to fight their war. Before Miran could react, the station intercom boomed with a deep, cold message in a language he didn't understand. Every light on the station's platform turned blood red. Doors locked. Gates sealed. A complete lockdown. Lissa closed her eyes for a moment. They're not here to capture me, she whispered. They're here to erase me. Miran felt something in him snap, an instinct humans were famous for. He stood between her and the exit. No one is erasing anyone on my shift. Lissa looked at him with a strange expression, almost like relief, almost like guilt. You don't understand, she said. They will destroy the whole station to reach me. Miran swallowed hard. Outside the bus window, a massive shadow moved across the glass. A ship, dark, silent, shaped like a giant claw, latched onto the station's outer shell. Its engines pulsed like a beating heart. The entire building groaned under the pressure. Lissa stepped closer to Miran. If we stay here, we die with the others, she whispered. But if you let me into the bus main core, I can give us a chance. Miran stared at her. She was small, frightened, hunted, and yet something about her felt powerful. Not physically, but in a deeper, stranger way. Something she didn't want anyone to see. He took a breath. Show me what you can do. Lissa nodded once, slow, determined, almost grateful. She placed both hands on the control panel. At that moment, every dead screen lit up. Blue surged across the dashboard. Symbols and codes danced over the glass. The entire bus hummed like a living creature coming awake. A deep voice suddenly echoed from outside. The enemy commander, amplified through some massive device. Release the fugitive, or be destroyed. Lissa's eyes glowed brighter, shining like twin lights in the dark bus. Miran, she whispered, please trust me. I don't want to hurt anyone. He stepped beside her. Then let's make sure no one hurts you either. And for the first time, Lissa smiled, gentle, small, but filled with hope. A hope that humans, even alone, even outmatched, would still stand between danger and the defenseless. It was the moment Miran realized. This wasn't just about saving her. This was about proving what humans do best. We protect, we resist, and we don't run. The entire station shook a second time, harder than before. Metal groaned like something enormous was clawing the outer hull. The red emergency lights blinked in a slow, frightening rhythm. Every pulse made the shadows stretch across the bus floor like long, reaching fingers. Miran moved toward the front window, heart pounding. Outside, he saw fragments of debris falling past the glass. A dark shape, one of the enemy boarding claws, was slowly drilling into the station wall. Lissa stepped beside him. They're not wasting time, she whispered. They want me alive. But not for long. Miran turned to her. What do they want with you? Why go this far? Lissa hesitated. For the first time, she looked ashamed. I know something, she said softly. Something they want to bury forever. Before he could ask what, an explosion ripped through the left side of the platform. Fire burst from a nearby tunnel. Passengers screamed, running through smoke. Emergency shutters slammed down, trapping some inside the corridors, cutting off others. Miran felt his instincts kick in. They had seconds, maybe less. Get to the back, Miran shouted. Stay low. But Lissa grabbed his arm. No, you need to see this. She pointed at the cracked ceiling just as a massive, armored figure dropped through it with a thunderous crash. Dust exploded outward. Metal shattered. The figure straightened slowly. A towering alien soldier, wrapped in dark plating, eyes glowing red behind a narrow visor. A hunter-class enforcer. A living weapon. Twice Miran's height. Built like a walking tank. The station guards had warned about these things. Unstoppable, brutal, designed to hunt a target no matter where they hid. And this one was staring directly at Lissa. Passengers froze, terrified. The hunter lifted its weapon, an extended shock lance that crackled with electric currents. The air itself vibrated with its energy. Miran stepped in front of Lissa without thinking. The hunter spoke in a cold, distorted voice. Target located. Stand aside, human. Miran felt his legs tremble, but he didn't move. Lissa grabbed his sleeve, whispering desperately, "You can't fight it. Please, don't try." But he stayed rooted. Humans weren't the biggest, not the strongest, not the fastest. But when someone needed protection, humans had something no weapon could match. A heart that refused to step aside. The hunter stomped forward. Every step shook the floor. Its lance raised higher. Passengers backed away, expecting Miran to flee. Instead, he shouted, "You want her? You go through me." The hunter paused, confused. A human defending a fugitive? A human standing against an enforcer? It didn't compute. Lissa's eyes widened. Fear, shock, and something deeper. Respect. Maybe even awe. The hunter shifted its stance. Non-compliant human. Lethal force authorized. It thrust the lance forward. But the bus suddenly roared to life. Lights brightened. Engines hummed. Panels flickered. The doors snapped open by themselves. Lissa gasped. "It's responding again to me." Miran grabbed her hand. "Move." They sprinted inside the bus, just as the hunter stabbed its lance toward them. The metal door slammed shut, sparks flying as the weapon hit it. The hunter stepped back and began charging another attack. Lissa pressed both hands to the main console. "Miran, the bus is asking for a command. A command. Your voice. Your choice. It's waiting for you." The entire bus vibrated, ready to launch. Outside, the hunter lifted its lance for a strike that would tear the bus in half. Miran inhaled sharply. If he hesitated now, they were dead. He leaned forward and shouted, "Unit 7 to 42, full departure now." The bus engine screamed. Thrusters engaged. The floor rumbled violently. Outside, the hunter stepped back, and the bus shot forward like a fired missile. Straight into the chaos. Straight into danger. Straight into whatever was waiting next. The bus blasted forward with such force that every seat rattled. Sparks flew from the metal floor as Unit 7 to 42 tore through the station's inner transit tunnel. Red lights flashed past the windows like angry streaks of lightning. The emergency shutters were dropping one by one, trying to seal the area, but the bus kept slipping through by mere seconds. Miran gripped the steering rail with white knuckles. He had never driven at this speed. No one had. Behind them, a thunderous metallic roar echoed through the tunnel. The hunter had broken through. Lissa looked over her shoulder. Her breath caught. "He's following us." The hunter wasn't running. It was charging, its armored legs slamming into the ground with brutal strength. Every step shook the tunnel walls. Its eyes glowed brighter, locking onto the bus like a predator locked onto fleeing prey. Miran pushed the control pedal harder. "Come on, come on." The bus shot through another half-closed shutter, leaving sparks behind. But Miran saw the warning lights on the dashboard flashing violently. The power core was overheating. "Lissa," he shouted. "This engine can't handle this speed for long." Lissa pressed her hands to the main panel. The glowing patterns beneath her fingers began to shift. Her presence stabilized the bus in ways Miran didn't understand. "It listens to me," she said breathlessly. "But only if you keep it moving." The tunnel curved sharply ahead. At this speed, the bus shouldn't survive the turn. Miran's heart hammered. "Hold on." He swung the steering rail. The bus tilted dangerously, almost flipping. But Lissa slammed her palm onto another panel, redirecting power to the stabilizers. The bus snapped back into balance and shot around the curve, just as the hunter crashed into the wall behind them, sending chunks of metal exploding outward. It didn't slow down. It didn't tire. It didn't feel fear. It only hunted. Lissa whispered, "He won't stop. Not until he kills me." Miran looked at her. "Then we make sure he never gets the chance." She blinked in surprise. No one had ever said that for her. Not on her world. The tunnel ahead widened into a large maintenance chamber, dark, filled with old crates, pipes, and forgotten machines. Parts of the ceiling dripped hot steam. A perfect place to hide. But hiding wouldn't save them. The hunter leapt into the chamber seconds later, landing with a massive slam that shook dust from the ceiling. Lissa grabbed Miran's arm. "We need to leave this place, now." But before Miran could accelerate again, the chamber lights snapped on. Rows of old cargo drones, forgotten, dusty, inactive, suddenly powered up one by one. Their engines buzzed. Their scanners glowed. Miran stared in disbelief. The bus activated them. Lissa shook her head slowly. No, the bus didn't. The drones turned. Every single one. And formed a wall between the bus and the hunter. Miran whispered, "They're protecting us." Lissa's eyes softened. They're reacting to my signal. I didn't mean to, but they heard me. The hunter let out a mechanized roar and charged straight at the drones. The first drone flew forward bravely, only to be smashed aside like a toy. The second tried firing a low-power cutter. The hunter crushed it under its foot. But the drones didn't stop. They swarmed him, buzzing, cutting, slamming, sacrificing themselves. Miran hit the accelerator. The bus surged across the chamber toward the exit tunnel as the drone battle raged behind them. Lissa stared through the back window, voice breaking softly. They're not built for fighting. They're dying because of me. Miran didn't look away from the path ahead. They're giving you time, he said. Use it. The hunter roared again, throwing the last drone aside and beginning to chase them once more, slower now, damaged, but still deadly. Lissa turned back to the console, jaw tightening. Her voice was small, but full of fire. Then I'll use every second they gave. And for the first time, she no longer looked like prey. She looked like someone ready to fight back. The bus sped through the next tunnel, metal screaming under the pressure. Warning alarms blinked across the dashboard, but Miran kept pushing forward. The hunter's footsteps echoed behind them, slower now, but still steady, still unstoppable. Lissa stood near the console, breathing fast, her silver-blue skin glowing faintly from the strain. The lights of the bus reflected in her eyes like tiny stars. Miran risked a glance at her. Lissa, I need the truth. What are they chasing? Why would your people send a monster like that? Her hands trembled. She didn't answer right away. The tunnel opened into a narrow maintenance bridge suspended over a deep machinery pit. Blue energy pulsed far below them, like the heartbeat of the entire station. The air buzzed with static. Only when they were halfway across did Lissa speak. My people are building something terrible. Miran gripped the controls tighter. What kind of terrible? Lissa touched the glass of the side window, as if she could see her home from here. A weapon. Not like your weapons. Not a laser. Not a bomb. She turned toward him, voice barely a whisper. A weapon made from minds. Miran felt a chill crawl up his spine. Minds. Lissa nodded slowly. They take people with rare neural patterns and turn them into living processors. A single mind can run a warship. 100 minds can destroy a city. Miran stared at her in horror. That's slavery. It's worse, she said. Once they extract you, you are not alive anymore. You only think you are. Miran's stomach twisted. And they wanted to do this to you. They tried. Lissa looked down at her shaking fingers. But my mind reacted differently. It didn't break. It overloaded their system. I damaged one of their cores by accident. They called me unstable. Dangerous. So they tried to erase me. Miran exhaled sharply. Erase you? For surviving what they did to you. Lissa looked away, ashamed. To them, I'm a mistake. A threat. Before Miran could respond, the bus suddenly jolted as a red alert blared across the screen. Energy bridge compromised. The metal bridge beneath them groaned. Sparks exploded from the edges. The hunter had reached the start of the bridge and was stepping onto it, each heavy footstep making the whole structure wobble. Lissa grabbed the seat in front of her. We need to get off this bridge now. Miran slammed the accelerator again. Unit 7 to 42 groaned, but surged forward. Behind them, the hunter marched steadily, ignoring the falling debris. Its armor was cracked. Its lights flickered, but it kept coming. Lissa turned back to the console. She placed both hands firmly on it. Miran, listen. He looked at her, breathless, waiting. My mind, the one they fear, it can do more than wake machines. It can connect to them. The lights inside the bus brightened as if reacting to her heartbeat. Miran frowned. You mean you can control the bus? Not control. Guide. Ask. And it listens. Then ask it something useful. Lissa shook her head. No. Not the bus. The station. Miran froze. The whole station? Lissa closed her eyes. She whispered something in a language Miran didn't know. At first nothing happened. Then, the entire bridge lit up with glowing blue lines. Pipes opened. Energy vents activated. Machines below roared with new power. A shockwave rippled across the entire structure. Miran held the steering rail tightly. What did you just do? Lissa opened her eyes. Her voice shook, not with fear, but with responsibility. I told the station I don't want to die. Behind them, a massive section of the bridge collapsed. The hunter slipped, fell, and crashed into the machinery pit below, sparks bursting around its armored body. It wasn't dead. but it was trapped for now. The bus made it to the far side of the bridge just before the last section fell into the glowing depths. Lissa collapsed into the nearest seat, breathing heavily. Miran steadied the bus and looked at her, stunned. "You said you didn't want to hurt anyone," he said softly. Lissa nodded weakly. "I didn't. I only asked the station to protect itself." Miran stared at her with a new understanding. She wasn't a weapon. She wasn't a mistake. She wasn't weak. She was something her people never expected. A mind too powerful to control, and too kind to use for war. Outside, deep below, the hunter roared. Injured, furious, still alive. Miran tightened his grip on the controls. Lissa wiped her eyes, whispering, "He's not the only one coming." The bus shot out of the collapsing bridge tunnel and entered a wider section of the station, an old freight zone filled with broken crates, dim lights, and dust floating in the stale air. Miran slowed the bus just enough to keep control, but his hands were still shaking. Lissa sat in the co-pilot seat, her breathing heavy. The glow on her skin had dimmed. Using her mind to command the entire bridge had drained her deeply. Miran looked at her with worry. "You okay?" Lissa tried to nod but winced. "My mind is tired. I can't push like that again. Not for long." Miran wanted to say something comforting, something human, but the words froze in his throat. Because outside the front window, a sharp blue flash suddenly cut through the darkness. Then another, and another. 3 beams of icy light shot down from the ceiling and hit the floor in perfect formation, forming 3 new figures. Miran's heart dropped. "Tell me those aren't more enforcers." Lissa's face went pale. "No, they're worse." The light faded, revealing tall, slender beings wearing layered metallic armor. Nothing like the brute force of the hunter. These were precise, silent, their faces covered by smooth silver masks. Their movements were sharp, controlled, almost graceful. Lissa whispered, voice trembling. "They are mind seekers." Miran swallowed hard. "What do?" "They don't kill you," Lissa said with a shiver. "They empty you." One of the mind seekers lifted its hand. A glowing sphere of pale blue energy formed in its palm, humming softly like a heartbeat. The other 2 stepped forward in sync, scanning the surroundings. "They're tracking my neural signature," Lissa whispered. "My thoughts, my fear, everything." Miran felt rage rising in him. Not fear, but pure, burning anger. "You're not a thing," he said quietly. "You're not something for them to take." Lissa stared at him, eyes wide with emotion. "No one ever said that to me before." Before Miran could reply, the mind seekers began moving toward the bus, fast, gliding, silent. Their energy spheres grew brighter. The bus reacted instantly. The lights flickered. The engines growled. The doors locked themselves. Lissa placed her hand on the console. "It's protecting us again," she said softly. "But it can't protect us forever." Miran pushed the throttle forward, trying to dodge around the seekers, but they split into 3 paths, coordinated, calculating, impossible to outrun in a straight line. One of them raised its hand toward the bus. A wave of blue energy swept forward, passing through metal like fog. Miran felt dizzy. His vision blurred. What is that?" Lissa grabbed his arm. "It's a neural sweep. Don't let it inside your mind. Focus on something real." Miran clenched his jaw, forcing himself to stay conscious. He focused on the steering rail. Its cold metal. The shaking floor. His own heartbeat. The dizziness faded. But Lissa wasn't so lucky. The moment the wave touched her, she gasped and clutched her head. No, stop. Get out of my mind." Miran slammed the emergency shield control. The bus projected a shimmering field around itself. Weak, unstable, but just enough to block the second wave. Lissa collapsed against the seat, panting. "Miran, they're trying to read everything. They want the core maps. They want the list. They want..." "What list?" Miran demanded. Lissa looked at him, tears forming in her bright eyes. "The list of every mind they plan to harvest." Miran felt sick. "And you have it." Lissa nodded. "I stole it to free them, to stop them. But they want it back, and they will tear the universe apart to erase me." Before Miran could answer, the mind seekers lifted into the air, their energy forms glowing brighter, merging into a single powerful field. Lissa screamed. "They're forming a neural net. If it hits the bus, our minds will snap." Miran shouted. "Then what do we do?" Lissa wiped her tears and rose unsteadily. "We don't run." She placed both hands on the console. Her entire body glowed, brighter than ever, like a small star. Miran stared in shock. Lissa, don't. You said your mind is tired. I know, she whispered. But humans fight when they must. Now I do too. Outside, the Mind Seekers sent their combined attack, a swirling, glowing storm of blue psychic energy. Lissa lifted her head. Her voice, though trembling, was stronger than before. Station Core, protect the human. The lights exploded. The bus engine roared. The floor shook like thunder. Lissa screamed, her power connecting, stretching, burning. The station answered. A massive surge of white power ripped through the freight zone. Blinding, deafening, unstoppable. And for a moment, everything vanished into light. For several long seconds, there was only white. White light. White sound. White silence. Miran couldn't breathe. He couldn't move. He felt weightless, like the universe had paused around him. Then, slowly, shapes returned. Shadows. Colors. The world rebuilt itself piece by piece until the bus interior appeared again. Smoke drifted through the air. Panels flickered weakly. The engine hummed like it was breathing through broken lungs. Miran coughed and forced himself upright. Lissa? Lissa. She wasn't in her seat. Fear punched through his chest. He stumbled toward the center aisle, eyes searching. He found her collapsed near the console. Her silver-blue glow was almost gone, dim like a fading ember. Her chest rose and fell in tiny, shallow breaths. She looked impossibly small. Miran knelt beside her and shook her gently. Hey, stay with me. Her eyes opened slowly. Faint. Tired. But alive. You're safe? She whispered. Miran shook his head. No. We are safe. You saved us. Lissa smiled weakly. I didn't save us. The station did. I only asked. Miran squeezed her hand. You asked like someone worth saving. Before she could reply, a deep rumble echoed through the freight zone. Miran looked out the windshield. The Mind Seekers were gone. Nothing remained except drifting sparks and a single cracked silver mask lying on the floor. But from far below the wrecked bridge tunnel, a familiar roar vibrated through the metal. The hunter, still alive, still climbing. Lissa's eyes widened. He won't stop. Not until I'm gone. Miran stood slowly, anger and determination burning in him. Then we end this. He rushed to the driver's console. But before he could touch the controls, the bus acted on its own. Lights steadying, engine strength returning, shocks rebuilding. Lissa watched in surprise. It's choosing to help, she said softly. It's learned from us. The freight doors ahead opened with a loud clang, revealing the station's outer launch tunnel, a long metal shaft leading to open space. Miran looked at the glowing path. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Lissa pulled herself up weakly. You want to eject the hunter into space. Miran nodded once. If he wants us so badly, let him chase us into vacuum. Lissa placed her palm on the console. Unit 7-42, final request. The bus lights flared, brighter than ever. The hunter's roar grew louder as it pulled itself onto the platform behind them. Miran gripped the rail. Lissa held the console with trembling fingers. On my mark, Miran whispered. Thud. The hunter's massive hand slammed onto the rear of the bus. Crash. It dragged itself upward, red eyes burning with fury. Lissa gasped. He's boarding. Miran shouted. Mark. Lissa sent the command. The bus rocketed forward. The sudden force flung the hunter backward, but it clung to the rear frame with monstrous strength. Its claws dug into the metal. Sparks exploded. The launch tunnel ahead grew brighter, the outer hatch beginning to open. Air pressure started to vanish. Lissa held onto the console. Miran, once the hatch opens, everything goes out. I know, he shouted. The hunter climbed another foot. The outer hatch split open. Space waited beyond, cold, black, endless. The bus reached the final section. Lissa whispered, voice cracking. Please, protect the human. The bus reacted instantly. With a violent mechanical snap, the rear emergency gate blew open, and the hunter was sucked into space, roaring silently as it tumbled into the darkness. The hatch sealed behind him. Silence returned. The bus drifted gently in the launch tunnel, engines cooling, lights dimming into a peaceful glow. Miran collapsed back into the driver's seat, chest heaving. Lissa leaned against him, exhausted but alive. He whispered softly, It's over. She shook her head faintly. No, the Mind Seekers were only one unit. My people will come again to erase what I know. Miran turned to her. Then you stay with us. Humans don't erase people. We protect them. Lissa looked at him with wide, shining eyes. Hopeful, uncertain, touched. You would risk your world for me. Miran smiled. For anyone who chooses peace over war. Lissa placed her hand over his. Then, I choose humans. And just as the bus settled into silence, a faint red symbol blinked on the far hatch screen. A message. A signature. Her people had found the station again. Lissa whispered. They're coming. Miran tightened his grip on the rail. Then let them come. This time, they won't just be fighting you. He stared into the darkness, jaw set. They'll be fighting us. The screen faded to black.